Hello and welcome to Purple AI in Action. Discover how generative AI helps you stay ahead of threats. Today's webinar is sponsored by SentinelOne and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Scott Becker. I'm from Actual Tech, and I'm excited to be your moderator for this special event. Now, before we get to today's great content, we have three housekeeping items that will help you get the most out of this session. First off, we want this to be an informative event for you, so we encourage any questions in the questions box in your webinar control panel. Not only will we have team members responding to questions during the live event, but we'll also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the presentation where we'll discuss in greater detail some of the top questions that you ask. Now, that Q&A panel is also the place to let us know about any technical issues that you might be experiencing. A browser refresh will fix most audio, video, or slide advancement issues, but if that doesn't work, just let us know in the Q&A and we'll provide further technical assistance. Now, second, in the handout section of your webinar control panel, you'll find that we're offering several resources. I'd especially like to call your attention to a link to get started with SentinelOne. So you can find that again in your handout section, and it'll be available throughout the session. And third, at the end of this webinar event, we will be awarding a $250 Amazon gift card to one lucky registrant. Of course, you must be in attendance during the live event to qualify for the prize. The official terms and conditions of today's prize drawing can be found in the handout section. Just scroll to the bottom and you'll find the link with the details there. Okay, well, with that housekeeping out of the way, let's get to today's fantastic session. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to our presenters today from SentinelOne. We have Rachel Park, who's Director of Product Marketing. We have Ely Kahn, who's Vice President of Product Management for Cloud Security and AI ML. And Joseph Poyner, who's Director of Sales Engineering. So now I'm going to turn things over to Rachel to get us started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special webinar on Purple AI as we provide an exclusive sneak peek and share more about how Purple AI will empower every analyst to better stay ahead of attacks. My name is Rachel Park. I'm a Director of Product Marketing here at SentinelOne, and I'm just going to provide you with a little bit of an introduction as to what to expect today, as well as introduce our guest speakers. But let's get into it. I want to start by introducing our speakers and experts. We have Ely Kahn, Vice President of Product for AI and ML and Cloud Security, and Joseph Poyner, Director of GTM for Sales Engineering. And with that, I will just pass it on straight to Ely to kick it off.
Demo time. So I'm going to hand it over to Joseph. He's going to demo some of our GA capabilities, and then I'll show you some of the things coming after that.
All right. Let me go ahead and get my screen share going. All right. Can somebody give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen, Purple AI, and can people hear me okay? I'm going to go with silence.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Ah, perfect. Thank you, Ely. All right. So again, my name is Joe Poyner. I'm the go-to-market SE Director and happy to give you guys a quick demonstration today. I've been answering questions in the chat furiously, so keep them coming as well. A couple of the questions that I'd like to address, some people were asking, how does this help my analysts, and will this benefit a level 1 or a level 3 analyst, a junior or a senior analyst? And the answer to that is it really helps both analysts equally. Level 1 junior analysts, they typically need help as they're onboarding and as they're learning a new tool. And a level 3 analyst is typically very time constrained. They might be very smart, but they have a lot on their plate. Purple AI can really aid you with both of these scenarios where we can help level 1 analysts get into the tool and start using it, and as well we can help level 3s work quicker. So let's take a look at a really simple example. We have here a great article from SentinelOne Labs, and we've all seen these. Every vendor puts them out about Lockbit 3.0, and they give you all sorts of interesting information. And then at the very end of every single one of these articles, they give you hashes and they give you MITRE TTPs. And these are ostensibly included in these articles to give you a spot to start with hunting, to see am I potentially exposed by this actor or by this TTP? And so we can see here, indicator removal on host, clear Windows event logs. So let's take this one example. If we are a junior analyst and he says, man, I really want to search for this to see, am I infected in my environment potentially by this? Is there somebody clearing Windows event logs? The first thing that they would need to do is come over here to SentinelOne, and they would need to know our query language. We've already hit a stumbling block where the analyst has to know our query language, how it's formatted, and the syntax, and they might give up and say, well, I guess I can't search for that valuable piece of information. Purple AI, though, we absolutely can. All I have to do is ask it in natural language. So I'm going to say find event viewer tampering and group by username, because I'm curious which users are doing it. And what Purple AI will do is take that natural language, break it apart into its constituent parts, and then build us a power query for it. Now, this is the impressive part, is because Purple AI understands the syntax of what I'm looking for. Find event viewer tampering. So it says, okay, event viewer tampering, that's a behavioral indicator that SentinelOne has access to. So let me filter by event type, behavioral indicators, and indicator name is event viewer type, and then group by username. And it does that. Here's my users down here, and that's this group event count by source user. This is the amazing thing about Purple AI, is because even me, somebody who knows this language, Power Query, relatively well, I could not have typed out this query as fast as Purple AI did it for me. So now we've automatically leveled up a level 1. He can start querying instantly. And if it's a level 3, he can type out highly intelligent queries faster than he can if he were doing it manually, because even me, I'd make a mistake. I'd forget an equals. I'd forget a quote. And, it would take me 10 minutes to make a query, where with Purple AI, it takes me seconds. So we come over here, and if we continue our hunt, we see that Starfleet Jean-Luc has 206 event viewer clearings. That's suspicious because that's a backup user account. We shouldn't see that in our environment. So what we can do is we could do two things. One, Purple AI always generates follow-up questions, and these are based on the data that it found on the first hunt, because this is a conversation back and forth. So it looks at the data and says, what might you want to search for next? So we can either click on and choose one of their follow-up questions, or we can choose our own path. So I could say, well, show me the logins for Jean-Luc. I want to see, where's he logging into? And, that'll give me an idea of impact, because up here, I grouped it by username. 206, is that 206 on one machine or 206 on a lot of machines? And we quickly see our results. In this case, we have a lot of results across a lot of machines. Purple AI gives us a breakdown, of what that data is. So the logins for Jean-Luc has successfully been retrieved, grouped by computer name, giving us an overview. The analysis shows the distribution, and the data reveals most frequently logged in. It gives us our follow-up questions, but we might want to dive in deeper into this information. So let's ask it specifically. Let's say, find me details indicators for the user Jean-Luc on any machine containing the board, because that's our naming convention for our test infrastructure. So again, it's going to break this data down, give us our query back, and then pull information. And the next piece is really, really special, because one of the challenges that we constantly saw, both on L1s and L3, once we've gotten past the difficulty of creating a query, is we saw the need for help with determining true positive versus false positive. It's one of those things that constantly gets in the way, and you have to say to yourself, well, is this bad or is this good? So here we can see a lot of different events, and me as an analyst, I could start filtering through each one of these events. We can see here's a registry auto run, but let's use Purple AI to make this really simple. So if I'm a junior analyst, I want to confirm, is this a true positive? Do I need to hit the button for help or not? So I'm going to click on it. It's going to submit the event stack to Purple AI and then ask it to write a SOC-based summary. And here we go. We can see this, what it comes back with. Resistance is futile was created by DLL host. And let's see, additionally, the process resistance is futile exhibited indicators of persistence and privilege escalation as it registered itself to become persistent via an auto run. Furthermore, resistance is futile is unsigned and it poses a security risk, had a high file count, registry changes, and ransomware indicators. So if I'm a level 1 analyst, I've now confirmed that this truly is something malicious and ideally I should be escalated. If I'm a level 3 analyst, this gives me automatically something that I can investigate. I know what machines, I know what MITRE TTPs are involved, and this can be the basis of my SOC summary or my event summary that I submit to any executive leadership. It would have taken me an hour to investigate to this level and then write this level of professional summary, yet Purple AI came back within seconds. Now, the last thing I want to highlight very quickly, again, we have statistical analysis and follow-up questions, but this is a conversation. So every time that I ask for something, it's keeping track of the context. And we can see there are 1,000 results in this particular table, and they span a whole lot of different binaries. Maybe I want to limit this data so that we just get a subset of the data to make it easier to process. So resistance is futile. If you remember, Purple AI said it's unsigned. So let's just ask Purple AI to filter the data. We're going to say limit results to unsigned processes. And what it'll do is it'll say, okay, he's asking me to take the previous query, apply a modifier. In this case, we're going to limit the results to unsigned processes and then rerun the query for me. And it'll bring back those results. So this really helps with the conversationality and feeling like Purple AI is somebody who's sitting next to you, who's helping you do the investigation and helping you drill down into the results that you might want. So now, rather than seeing, if you remember the previous table, let's go up and look at it. We had lots of results like PowerShell in there. Maybe we did more con host, command. And now we're limited to resistance is futile, which is that unsigned binary that we were investigating. All very easy to do. Now, on top of that, all of these are organized into notebooks. So as I do a hunt, and as I say, wow, this was something that was successful, I can then share that with my coworkers so that they could come in and see what this type of hunt looks like, or even help me do the hunt. Or if I want to, go back in time and look at prior hunts that I did successfully. For example, this one, where I did a hunt for a malicious domain, Cloud Security 42. Or I could pick this hunt up at a later time. So hopefully through this demo, you've seen that Purple AI truly can help speed up analysis, all through things like natural language to Power Query conversion and the power of event summarization. We truly do feel like this will help SOC analysts the world over truly get down into the nitty-gritty and into some interesting findings that previously they couldn't. Eli, I think I'm ready to pass it back to you. Are you out there?
All right. Well, with that, I think we could probably take some additional questions. Should we try fielding some additional questions that came in?
Yes, we have so many questions.
Yes.
We will try to go through as many as we possibly can. I will say that we are keeping track of every single question that has been submitted. And if we do not get to your question, we will answer in a follow-up. Okay, but let us begin with the very first question. We're getting a lot of questions about licensing and whether this is included. And so the question is, how do customers purchase Purple AI? Is it an add-on license?
Yeah, so I can take that. So we're finalizing pricing here over the next couple of weeks. Initial pricing will be, based on your number of endpoints, a marginal additional cost based on your complete. Really the prerequisite for using Purple is a complete license, because the complete license gives you access to the Singularity Data Lake, is querying that Singularity Data Lake. So you can think about it as a additional marginal cost, complete endpoints that you've been licensed for. In the future, we'll be adding additional pricing schemas in that, or pricing approaches. In particular, we also plan to support, if you are a Singularity Data Lake only customer, meaning you're not a complete customer, but you have purchased a license to the Singularity Data Lake to store your data, maybe as a SIM replacement or SIM augmentation, then we'll also provide, ingest-based pricing, that's tied to how much data you're bringing into the Singularity Data Lake. Next question.
Great. The next question is if we can share about the extent of data ingest that is Purple AI eligible. So for example, is it only SentinelOne EDR data? What about DC logs, FW logs, IDS, etc. logs that are available for Purple to query?
Yeah. So the type of data that Purple understands is any of our EDR data or partner logs that come in via OCSF format. All of our new integrations that we built out for the Singularity Data Lake, bring in data in OCSF format. Those will all be supported.
Perfect. Can we share a little bit more about, I think this is threat hunting quick starts, but if we can share more about the successful or efficient hunting questions or sets of questions, and how often are we updating those quick starts?
So yeah, the different hunting starting points, not infinite, but obviously there's so many different types of threat actors out there, and the types of threat actors. If you're doing a threat actor hunt, that grows every month, every week, and so we're not good. The goal of the hunting quick starts is not to enumerate every potential threat actor out there, but really to give you really good examples of the types of questions that Purple excels at. So for threat actor hunts, we'll obviously give you some examples of different threat actors that you can hunt for and how to structure those questions in Purple. But it also should inspire you to sort of riff off our example questions and build your own. To answer your question, one of the interesting things that won't be part of the first release of Hunting Quick Starts, but is on our roadmap for this year, is for the example questions to dynamically update any general trends that we're seeing across our customer base in terms of
Oh, Eli, I think you cut out in the very last sentence. If you could repeat that last sentence.
Oh, weird. Okay. Yeah, I was just saying, okay, I just got a message to update Chrome. Don't want to do that. What I was saying there is that although it won't be part of the initial release, wonderful hunting, meaning they are automatically updated based on trend. trends that we're seeing across our customer base in terms of the types of questions that customers are asking.
Got it. You might need to turn off your video for us to keep hearing you, but we got that last one. Awesome. There's a lot of questions. There are a lot of questions about data and training. So I'm going to summarize some of these here, and hopefully we can address some of them. Are we capturing and storing user inputs and prompts? Does Purple AI train on my data? Is there training on data? Or are you building our own model with data built into GPUs? So if we can just give a little summary on our approach to data and whether we train on data and what we store and keep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the best way to think about this question, well, the short answer is no, we're not training on your data. But, the deeper explanation there is to think about this through that reference architecture diagram that I showed earlier. Really what Purple is doing is smartly prompting a large language model using carefully crafted prompt engineering. And so the knowledge base that we've built out is really the key to that. So the knowledge base is populated, like I said, with all of our documentation, all of our blogs, all of our syntax, all of our schemas, open source threat intelligence feeds, commercial threat intelligence feeds. And that's really what we're using to make sure that we are producing high quality results. And none of that is tied to your data. It's tied to the data sources that we select, the open source and commercial and our own data sources that we select to input into that knowledge base. The only thing that we're doing with your data is looking for like anonymized trends across the system. Like I was just mentioning, in the future, we want to produce like a trending questions capability. So for that, we'll be looking at like what questions are in common across our customer base. But we're not training on your data. We're certainly taking feedback from customers. So like if they push a thumbs down or a thumbs up on a particular translation or summarization, we're using that as input to improve our models, but we're not training our models on your data. We have, in terms of like large language models that we partner with, we all have sub-processor agreements where they're not allowed to retain any of the prompts that we send them. And, we can share those contractual agreements with our customers.
Perfect. The next one, I'm going to pass this one to Joseph. Will the analyst need to learn a Purple language, like having to learn Splunk language, or will it be easy to get data from Purple AI?
Yeah, so hopefully that part was a little bit evident, inside of the demonstration. I wouldn't consider interacting with Purple AI having to learn a language. It's more about prompt engineering. So understanding what words to use so that Purple AI can understand what you're wanting. If I, for example, said, "Are any of my users pizza?" Purple AI will respond with, "I'm sorry, can you ask me a different cybersecurity question, because the question didn't syntactically make sense." So just understanding a little bit about SentinelOne's language that we call endpoints. Endpoints or computers or machines will help you go far. But for most people, and this is the amazing part about LLMs, is that you can just come in using your own language and it will, for the most part, understand exactly what you're looking for. And it's absolutely incredible, because I've had people, when they see my demonstration, they say, "Well, Joe, I wouldn't phrase those questions like you did. Will it work with how I want to do it?" And then I'll give them a keyboard and they'll type it out, and it understands and runs the exact same query, because the implications are the same.
Perfect. Another question is, does Purple AI interface or API well with other tech suites such as, I'm not going to name them, but there are other SIMs and other tech suites as well. So I would love if you can answer that question.
Yeah, absolutely. So other products, when we release on GA, Purple AI will interface with EDR data, and that's what we're leading with out of the gate. Obviously, we understand our own data best. After GA, we'll start to ingest other types of data sources. We've already been playing with sources like third-party identity access providers, where rather than say, tell me about SentinelOne's EDR data, I could say, show me who's failing logins from X IDP. So we see that as a definite win and a definite easy win for Purple AI, because you might know SentinelOne data, but you definitely don't know IDP data. So Purple AI can help to be that bridge into that information, which can be oftentimes, full of valuable insights.
Perfect. Now, I'm going to ask two more questions, and I'm so sorry to the folks who submitted questions. We will follow up on that, I absolutely promise you. The first is, can we share more about how Purple AI looks and functions in a multi-tenant environment? Joseph,
so yeah, I can take that one. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So Purple AI is aligned to SentinelOne scopes. So you can use Purple AI both at a global level, an account level, and a site level. So like if you're an MSSP that onboards your customers at the site level, you can log in from the account level and do a Purple AI query across all sites. And you could also log into a site and do a query, Purple AI query, just from that site's scope.
Perfect. And then finally, this is a more general question. I want to try to hit as many of them as possible about services. So our Watchtower and Vigilance services and DFIR services. If we could share a little bit more about how Purple AI in its development has really partnered with the Watchtower team and the Vigilance team and threat intelligence to do active threat hunting, and how you may be really benefited if you're a customer of one of those services as well.
Yeah. Love the question. So yeah, our first Purple AI users were our Watchtower, Vigilance, and SentinelOne SOC teams. But beyond that, we're actually heavily leveraging data from those teams. So for our auto investigations feature, we're heavily leveraging Vigilance investigation playbooks to help drive that feature. We're actually also leveraging a number of Watchtower data feeds. So we have Watchtower hunting queries, and we're also adding in Watchtower flash reports into the Purple knowledge base. So,
Perfect.
Under the covers, you're essentially getting a license to Watchtower hunting library when you purchase Purple.
Perfect. Folks, we are out of time. Again, apologies for not being able to get to all of your questions. But with that, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time. Thank you to Eli and Joe for your expertise. Thank you.
Okay, well, thanks, Rachel, Eli, and Joe, for putting together a really informative presentation here, and for all of those insights in the Q&A. Really appreciate your time. And before we wrap up, we do have a quick poll question for everybody. So just please let us know if you'd like SentinelOne to reach out with more information about Purple AI. And I'll leave that poll question up to give everyone a chance to respond while we roll into the Amazon gift card prize drawing for the day. So the winner of the $250 Amazon card is Joe Palmari from Illinois. So congratulations to Joe Palmari. We'll be in touch to get you your card. Okay, and with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I just want to thank SentinelOne for making this event possible. And thanks as always for attending and for your great questions. And we'll go ahead and close out the poll. Thanks to everybody who responded. We really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.